Hi. If, well, I shouldn't say if. That makes it sound really, makes it sound really morbid. But you're hearing this, and I hope that you would. But I also hope that you don't. Not necessarily because I don't want you to hear it, but I hope that it, I would honestly hope that you wouldn't need to hear it. But loving yourself is good, but it's also hard. And believe me, I know. I know that can be hard. But it's okay for it to be hard too. Some of the hardest things in life are only hard because they really do matter. I mean, if something was easy to do, no one would celebrate it as often. So, if something is hard, especially something like loving yourself, it's because it's important. It's not something that can just be done. And even if it was, it's something that's essential to all of us. If we can't love ourselves, then what does that leave us with? Loving yourself doesn't necessarily mean just congratulating yourself on everything or being self-centered or full of yourself. It just means that you are who you are, and not only do you accept that, but you honestly think it's kind of cool. And I like to think that's a good place to be at. And I like to think that's where I am too, after a long time of really, really hating myself. But like I said, it's okay to like yourself, and it's okay to think you're cool. Because honestly, I think everyone is. And I'm not just saying like everyone by default is perfect or you don't need to change who you are. That's not what that's about. It just means that you like the way your life is. And even though you know everything isn't perfect, it's something that's intended. You're living your life accordingly, and that's more than okay. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, I will always be one of the biggest advocators that life is something that should be lived, and you should take the time to really appreciate everything that you do because, I mean, try to imagine if you weren't here. And that's hard because if you're not you, then what's left? Just empty space full of potential that could have been there. And I don't want to imagine anyone being in that state. So I think it's okay to love yourself because it's just acknowledging that your existence does mean something. And don't say that it doesn't, because it does. Everyone's existence means something. I mean, I used to think that mine didn't, but then I had everyone around me telling me, oh, he's so nice, or he's so cool, or he isn't afraid to be himself. And even though at the time I really didn't like myself, I had to acknowledge that from an objective standpoint, at the very least, they're right. I don't think I've ever really been afraid to be myself, and it's honestly because I never really felt ashamed to be myself. I do what I like because I like it, not because it's what other people want or expect of me. It's just something I've been doing, so I kept doing it, and I had to realize maybe they do have a point. I mean, I only get to see myself from a first person perspective, so if I get to hear from word of mouth all these people giving me compliments or legitimately giving me valid reasons to appreciate my own existence, then that surely means something. That can't just be for nothing. And I'd like to think everyone has that sort of third person perspective, but you need to listen to it, you know? It's something that not everyone can get, but if you do, then genuinely, not just like, you can't just say, oh, okay, yeah, I listened to it and only give it a half-hearted listen to. Really think about it, about all the praise that people give you, and think to yourself, maybe they do have a point. Maybe I am pretty great. Because that's something, how do I even describe it? It's like getting a superpower. And I know that sounds silly and ridiculous, but think about it. The ability to act without having any reservation about yourself, being able to act on a dime, split second, without any hesitation. That's incredible. I mean, just, you don't have to consider, you don't have to think about it, you can just do. And I'm not saying every action you take should be thoughtless, but isn't that something worth considering? I mean, not, I said that the wrong time. Not that every action should be thoughtless, but maybe not everything is as complicated as you think it might be. Maybe things really are and really could be just that simple. As simple as either doing something or not. Just this binary option, this binary decision that's right in front of you. Maybe it really can just be boiled down to that. And it won't be everything. And not everything is as simple as it seems, but that also goes for complications. Not everything is as complicated as it seems. And I like to think that loving yourself is the same way. But it's also not easy. How would I explain this? It's not easy, but it's not complex. It's a very straightforward process, but doing that process takes a lot of willpower, a lot of belief and determination in yourself that you really are all that you could be, that you really are everything that your potential says you can do. And once you learn to accept that, you can honestly just do whatever you'd like. And I know I'm sounding like the ultimate optimist, but isn't that incredible? I mean, you can just do. You can act without getting people's approval. You can do all the things you'd like. You are very much and truly free to be yourself. And obviously there are going to be things that this doesn't apply to. There are some rules that you have to follow. But even then, those don't restrict your intrapersonal freedoms. Who you are, how you act, and how you react to things, what you like and what you don't like. All these core values are what make up the beautiful person that is yourself. And I think that's something worth appreciating. And I mean, just think about it. If not even you are in your own corner, then what more could you have left? At least if you learn to love yourself, you always know someone's got your back. And I know that sounds a lot easier than it sounds, but you just have to see it, you know? You have to really think about it. You have to really sit down and discover for yourself why you're worth loving. And I genuinely believe everyone has a reason. Everyone has something cool, or it's something that they find cool about themselves, but a lot of the time we get bogged down by all the negativity around us. And that's not great. It's not a great position to be in. But I believe you can do it. And even if you don't, I'm still going to keep believing. Because it really does just take one person that believes in us to make us see, maybe we're not so bad. Maybe I am actually really cool. Maybe I do deserve being liked and having friends and having relationships. Maybe I am worth loving, even by myself. And it's truly it's a breathtaking feeling. It feels really fresh despite you knowing yourself your whole life. You feel like you're just getting to know yourself for the very first time, and that's not only refreshing, not only is it revitalizing, it's exciting. It's like you're finally getting to meet a friend after so many years after knowing each other. Like you're finally able to just be, to just exist. And so loving yourself is hard. It's very hard, but it's not complex and it's not impossible. And I do believe that everyone deserves to be loved by themselves, at least to a certain extent. Just take the time to just take the time to really think about it, you know? You are a person that exists on this planet. Out of the potential people that could have been made, it's you that's here. And I don't think that's a fluke. I don't think that's a mistake. I think that's fascinating. If you're here right now, and even you may not know why, but it has to be for something. And it's our job as people to find that something within ourselves. It's the least we can do. And even if we can't do that, that's also good. That's also okay. It just takes time. That's something I feel like a lot of people tend to forget. Everyone always says that life is so short and we have to live our life with the time we have, but especially as time goes on, that time is still long and meaningful. I mean, even right now, we're about, I'd say, 11 minutes in, but you haven't noticed. Or maybe if you have, then you're more perceptive than I am. But do you know how many seconds 11 minutes is? That is no, that's not 66 seconds. That's 660 seconds, I believe. Maybe I'm just dumb. I'll practice math on my own time, which again, I have plenty of. Even if it doesn't seem like a lot, you still have years and years and years ahead to think about. And even if you do think that's so much more years of hardship, that's also a lot of time to make the most of those years. You can make so many good memories in that time. You can make so many good friends in that time. You can find every single reason to learn and figure out why you are so incredible. I don't know. I just tend to think that if I'm here, truly here, living a life, I can't think of anything that's cooler than that. And the fact that you're still here means that you still have the strength to keep going. Not everyone can say that. Not everyone can claim to be that mentally tough to just stick through all the bad and still be here enjoying the good. That's more incredible than I think even you give yourself credit for. Really, truly think about that. And one thing I was told before is crying isn't because someone is weak, it's because they've had to be strong for too long. And I like to think this harkens back to that. The fact that you're here means that you still have some strength left to fight, but honestly, living isn't always fighting. It isn't always surviving. It's just stopping and really taking in everything in. Yeah, I said that wrong. But still, it's really just stopping to appreciate all the things that you can do. Imagine, look back on everything in your life and truly think, and with no bias, no immediate dismissal of yourself, really think of the moments that you did something that just stop and think of the moments that you did something that truly made you happy. Really think about it. And think, is it because I did something that's happy? Or is it because I did something incredible and I gave myself the appropriate amount of props? Think about it. Isn't that cool that you did this cool thing in the past and you did that? No one else. It was just you. I think that's something worth looking into, even if you don't think so. And again, I'm not telling you to live your life. I'm just saying maybe it's worth looking into more than you thought originally. But yeah, I hope you come to love yourself, because even if we don't know each other, even if I know nothing about you, I still love you. I love everyone, because I truly believe everyone has this potential in themselves to be the best version of themselves. And I hope one day you can learn to be that best version of yourself, because that person is the most beautiful person in the world.